Hey, if you're a writer, you should read genres you don't like. This is Richard Klu from richardklu.wordpress.com, and thank you for joining me today. This is a quick video about why you should be reading things you don't like, or really genres you don't like. Well, maybe not necessarily genres you don't like, but maybe genres you're not used to, genres you don't have a lot of skills in as a writer. You know, if you're going to incorporate elements of these, no matter what you're writing. If I write a horror story, I need a character to fall in love for my plot. I need to know how to write love. If I just read a whole bunch of horror stories that don't have love in them, then I might not know how to do that effectively. Or say I'm a romance writer, and I want to write a paranormal romance, but I've never read paranormal. It's going to be a lot more difficult than if I just sit down and read a couple paranormal books. It's not going to take that long. It opens up your mind. You learn how to do things in different ways. Different genres handle things in different ways. Love is handled differently in a romance novel than you would handle it in a horror novel sometimes. Because in a horror novel, maybe the love is just a passing note that they loved each other, you show little elements. And in the romance novel, it's deep, it's intense. Love, that's what it's about. It's about the love. But in a horror novel, you just haven't been loved. But maybe you need that for the future of your horror novel. Maybe you need more love in your next horror novel. So reading some romance helps you actually pull that out, get that out of there, because you see how other people are doing it. Or maybe you write horror and you want to write fantasy, or maybe you write fantasy and you need to include some elements of horror. Maybe you're writing a mystery and you don't really feel comfortable doing a lot of gore, but there's a scene in your mystery that you need the character just to be disgusted by finding out who this serial killer is and what the serial killer has done. So you want to put in a part where in this it's like the mystery of who killed the Jetsons, and it was Rocky. It's a big reveal, and Rocky just did some terrible things to Mr. Jetson, but you're not sure what to say he did to Mr. Jetson or how to say it. So you go and grab a book that says all these horrible things that you're not used to reading, and you read it and you find out how to make yourself feel uncomfortable, and then you make other people feel uncomfortable because you felt uncomfortable. You know, action is another great thing. Like, if you're not used to writing action, but you're writing a book and you need that one action scene, and you're used to writing stuff where it's mostly just people talking and then events kind of happening, but you need that like fight scene, that brutal boxing match or something in the book. Read some books with fighting in them. Learn. Reading genres you don't like is a good thing. It's how we learn to be better writers. It's how you learn to go from A to B to C inside a story and create something that no one's ever seen before. Because if all you're writing is a generic fantasy or a generic horror story that doesn't incorporate anything but this is just straight blanket horror, that's all you get is straight blanket horror. That's all you get is straight blanket of fantasy and all the common fantasy tropes. By kind of meshing them together and learning kind of, you know, what are the tropes inside your field by reading the genres, you can learn to twist them on their heads. So reading different genres is great. It's good for you. I'm not saying do every book a different genre. I'm saying, you know, if all I ever read was horror, I would be far worse at writing character than I am now. I attribute a lot of my being able to write better character now because I took the time. I read a bunch of books by Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway's books, they're all about character development and the internal workings of character. They're sad books too. At the end, I thought they were sad. Some of them might as well have been horror movies for the way that they ended, just because they're so sad. Well, maybe not horror movies, but they made me sad. And this is Richard Klu. This is why you should read genres that you don't like or aren't comfortable with. It's gonna make you a better writer. If you don't believe me, give it a try, or tell me in the comments why you don't believe me. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe if you really like the video and you want to see more. Let me know what you'd want to see, or if you have any questions in the comments too. I've got the write-up of this at richardklu.wordpress.com. I also have a free ebook here on my website right now, where it's At the Tower of Midnight. It's a Lovecraftian style horror story about a guy that basically puts together a little cult inside of a tower, and the tower is built in a way that geometrically it affects the weaker-minded individuals around it and kind of draws them in. You know, if if you like Lovecraftian style horror, head on over to richardklu.wordpress.com and take a look. And you have a great day.